Yo, quirk slinging sidekick. We're back in our fave cafe nook, the ethic with espresso shots and that post-episode glow, the kind where you're replaying fights in your head while doodling All Might symbols on napkins. Ep 163's Bakugo boom still echoes like tinnitus from a fireworks show, but episode 164, history's greatest villain, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Japanese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Shiju said I know Akito if you're channeling your inner weeb, cranks the dial to soul-shattering. Drawing from Horikoshi's manga chapters around 414 minus 415 vibes and Bones official teases, this is the final war arcading its villainous epic soul for one shadow swallowing the light, but here is clawing for one more sunrise. Spoiler shield up, but if you're raw dogging the stream, hit pause, this chat's built for the initiated. Let's unravel the darkness. Ignite the screen, and we're plunged into a maelstrom where the final war's chessboard tilts villain ward, quirks clashing like thunder gods in a bottle episode gone rogue. The vibe? A suffocating brew of dread and defiance think more reign over a battlefield, laced with MHA's signature was so screwed, but let's swing anyway optimism. It's less fireworks, more funeral pie, heavy on low drops that reframe everything with action bursts that leave you breathless and a tad broken-hearted. You're not watching, you're surviving it. We open on the smouldering front lines, all for one AFO at his most monstrous body, a grotesque quilt of stolen quirks, rewinding and surging like a virus with daddy issues. Fresh off Bakugo's explosive defiance, AFO's not playing, he's dissecting legacies. The broadcast feeds flicker worldwide, civilians huddled in bunkers, kids clutching hero plushies, Mitsuki Bakugo barking encouragement at her TV like it's a pep rally. But the real Gokek? AFO's full origin unspools in visceral flashbacks, painting him not as cartoon evil, but a product of quirk society's creative robbing horrors. Born in the lawless pre-quirk dawn, the gritty era of meta abilities sparking riots, baby AFO and his twin Yoichi emerge from tragedy, monster desperate soul selling everything for a shot at normalcy, only for the world to chew her up. Rats, floods, anti-quirk zealots, it's Darwinian nightmare fuel, with young AFO snatching his first power spear like bones in a gruesome baptism, rampaging through soldiers and even the luminescent baby quirk zero, history's first spark. Yoichi, the frail dreamer devouring Captain Hero comics, plants the one-for-all seed of sharing vs. hoarding, but foe. He's all theft, all consumption killing, scheming, building an empire on stolen breaths. The philosophy clash culminates in Yoichi's escape cute as rebel hand in that bloody print. Iconic, birthing AFO's got complex, symbols are for the weak, I am the singularity. Cut to present carnage, AFO's airborne assault shreds hero lines, quirks like air cannon and spring like lens morphing into hybrid horrors. Bakugo, battered but blazing, trades blows in a rooftop ballet of sweat drills and warp dodges his awakened explosion twisting like a comet tail, forcing AFO to bleed real sweat rare for the demon. But AFO adapts, countering with the quirk arsenal that mocks heroism, reflecting evasion, rivets stab pinning threats. Heroes rally headshot threading support, All Might's voice crackling over comms like a ghost rally but the tide's villainous. Parallel cuts amp the despair, Deku Shigaraki grapple intensifying, decay waves eroding resolve, global updates fire counter force show win skeptics capture holes, but losses Mount Kurogiri's warp sowing chaos. Key characters. AFO owns the throne, his VA Kiyosaki dripping serpentine menace, Bakugo's feral grit shines a bulwark of not today, fossil, Yoichi's spectral cameos haunt like notive knives. Big moments explode, AFO's mid-fight monologue twisting Yoichi's hope into fuel for his rage, devastating combo that floors Bakugo heart-stopping callback to his death, the episode's climax, AFO declaring himself history's greatest villain as he preps a warp to fuse with Shigaraki, skies cracking with stolen thunder. Humor? Sparse but sharp, Bakugo's mid-pummel grunt of keep yappin', Alpacu denches a desperate chuckle in the void. The pulse? It's MHA's darkest hour, villains humanized into monsters, heroes as flickering candles, leaving you raw, questioning if the symbol of peace can outshine eternal night. Bones conjures a masterpiece of menace here, alchemizing Horikoshi's ink black panels into a cinematic abyss that grips your soul and doesn't let go. The art style? Quintessential MHA evolution, jagged lines for chaos, Horikoshi's flair for grotesque beauty, and AFO's form that's mismatched eyes, like a quilt of stolen souls. Gushing overload, the origin flashbacks. A visual gut punch, desaturated sepias and blood-red accents evoking Ghibli's war-torn poetry cost of berserk brutality, spill like bones erupting in slow-mo sprays, luminescent baby's glow flickering like a dying star. Present fights. Sublime savagery, Bakugo's explosions bloom in stratified fireballs, particles scattering like embers in wind-tunneled cams, AFO's quirk fusions animate with elastic horror, limbs elongating in frame-by-frame elasticity that rivals Demon Slayer's fluidity. The warp sequences. Purple void swelling with warp gate fractals, sound sync to Otsuka's baritone for immersive dread. Pacing masterclass, flashbacks intercut action like a fever dream, building emotional velocity without halt, while verbal feeds use glitchy HUD overlays for the high-stakes upstream tension. Audio is a weapon to Yuki Hayashi's OST swells from dirge strings to orchestral fury, Bakugo's blast syncing with percussive booms that thump your chest. Transitions? Seamless fades from past carnage to present, mirroring AFO's timeless evil. Kind-hearted nitpick bones, Euro wizards, this is love taps, Some multi-front cuts feel hair abrupt, sidelining Deku's thread for AFO spotlight, potentially jarring if your craving balance is soft to dissolve could have smoothed it. And while the pre-quirk crit is unflinching, the birth scenes run as borders on overwhelming subtler shading might have eased the horror without diluting impact. Trivial tweaks in an ep that's otherwise animation royalty, if they amp the secondary quirk effects more variance and reflect sheen, future brawls hit god tier. It's a villain origin that redefines shonen shadows dark, dazzling, unforgettable. Damn, ep 164 sinks its hooks deep, leaving me adrift in MHA's moral murk overall. It's the villain's virtuoso, flipping the script from hero worship to what makes a monster with unflinching poetry. Feels like cathartic core, heavy, transformative, the kind that has you staring at the ceiling post-credits, pondering if heroism's just polite villainy with better PR. Obsessed with AFOs and Peel Horikoshi crafts a big bad who's not mustache twirling, but a mirror to society's scars. His Yoichi feud a tragic what if that elevates the lore to epic tragedy. Bakugo's unyielding spark. Pure fire, his growth from explosive ego to explosive equalizer had me cheering through the tears. Humor bites just right, that denture dig. Peak snark and critiques. The darkness might eclipse lighter arcs with some kindly, it's a bold swing that pays off in depth, but it spotlights MH's maturity. No one's born evil, eras forged them. Fingers crossed tight for the horizon. AFO Shigaraki fusion fallout that twists psyches without cheap shocks, Ensemble Heroes Deku Todoroki squad stealing back the narrative, and an endgame honoring the manga's hopeful Akino rush bows, just scars the teal into symbols. This final stretch. It's etching MHA into legend status. If it crescendos like this, we're golden. Spill your shadows, what villain reveal wrecked you most? Cafe's open, let's dissect. New collision.